This is Paranormal Skeptic Academy, using critical thinking and scientific evidence to analyze your favorite ghost hunting shows. You'll never view them the same again. You have been warned. Did a UFO land on Presque Isle, Erie, Pennsylvania in 1966? And was this UFO carrying an extraterrestrial being? Find out this and more in this bonus extra episode of Paranormal Skeptic Academy. Keeping with the theme of supernatural Bigfoot, we're going to look into a Bigfoot UFO sighting from 1966. This encounter happened in Erie, Pennsylvania, which is the hometown of my wife. The story goes that on the evening of August 1st, 1966, a teenager from Jamestown, New York, Betty Jean Clem, saw a strange-shaped object in the sky. Douglas Tibbetts from Greenhurst, New York, witnessed this strange-shaped object from the front seat of his car. Douglas was Betty's boyfriend. She said, quote, "We saw a star move. It got brighter. It would move fast, then dim. You could see it come down. It was metallic, sort of silvery. It landed between two trees. It came straight down. The car vibrated." End quote. Betty also reported seeing a dark, featureless creature and heard something walking on the roof of her car. The Erie Daily Times also reported that 8 other individuals reported seeing UFOs between 8 p.m. and midnight on the night of August 1st. On August 6th, an Air Force Major William S. Hall from Youngstown, New York, went to investigate on behalf of Project Blue Book. From Wikipedia, quote, "Project Blue Book was one of a series of systematic studies of unidentified flying objects conducted by the United States Air Force. Project Blue Book had 2 goals: to determine if UFOs were a threat to national security and to scientifically analyze UFO-related data." Major Hall went to the beach, where, shockingly, the imprints were left by the UFO were still there, several days after the sighting. He then proceeded to take plaster molds of the track. A radiation test was also conducted by the Erie County Civil Defense, and the results were negative for radiation. On August 3rd, after the initial sighting was reported, 2 police officers reported UFO sightings in the pre-dawn hours. Soon, a rash of sightings followed. However, there's another aspect of this story, one where we have a possible explanation.
Contrary to what the police chief said in 1966, the UFO landing between Beach 6 and 7 appears to be a hoax. And it all started with a copy of Boy's Life magazine in the hands of Kim Faulkner.
In the back of Boy's Life magazine, they had a little article that you could buy these hot air balloons. So I purchased them. And when they came, they were first grade tissue paper. And you had to put them together with glue.
We found a copy of the ad from the 1966's Boy's Life magazine. You could buy 2 9-foot-tall hot air balloons for $3.50. Faulkner, then 11 years old, says he modified the plans and climbed up to the roof of his house to launch his contraption.
They had a red and white stripe, a long stripe, you know, and that had been on the top and one on the bottom with cleaner bags in the center. And it was heated by 3 pie tins. 3-story pie tins, and that's what kept it heated, and that's why it went the distance it did.
He says the wind carried the balloon in a northwesterly direction from his home at West 22nd Street in Burst. This map shows the path the balloon would have taken to make it to Presque Isle. Faulkner tried chasing it on his bike.
About 15th and Pittsburgh Avenue, I gave up, wheeled on back, tried to get my dad to take me to go see where it went. And he said, nope. He says, that went up way too high. He said, don't tell nobody. We're too close to the airport, and it probably interfere with the traffic.
Little did Faulkner know that 2 teenagers, Betty Jean Clem and Doug Tibbetts, would be sitting in a car on Beach 6 when the balloon came down. Or that it would result in panic, days of headlines and investigations by local police and the U.S. Air Force.
I believe it landed, or close to it. It reheated itself. then it regained its height. It only went out so far, and then it descended into the water. And that's why there was no trace. It was first-grade tissue paper, and all they would find is maybe a few pie plates.
All of the havoc caused by the sighting made Faulkner promise his dad he'd never say anything about it. But after seeing our Erie flashback, he decided to end over 35 years of silence and speculation.
Since then, my dad has passed on, and I'm sure being up there, he's getting quite a chuckle out of this.
Though he takes credit for the UFO, Faulkner denies having anything to do with the so-called alien described by Betty Jean or the tracks found in the sand. At least it leaves some mystery in what has apparently been one of Erie's greatest hoaxes.
There you have one possible explanation for the sighting. Add to that contagion, as Joe Nickel puts it, quote, an idea or concept that is spread by suggestion, somewhat analogous to a contagious disease, end quote. Once the story got out, everyone was seeing UFOs because everyone wanted to be a part of the story. Also, the weird shape that Betty saw was an alleged Bigfoot from outer space. However, this doesn't prevent shows like Monsters and Mysteries from airing an episode of this story, and this is what we're going to watch along with my live reaction in this PSA bonus extra episode. All right, here we go. UFO Bigfoot. As we zoom in on the United States, we head to the northeast, to the state of Pennsylvania.
In Pennsylvania, Presque Isle State Park is a 7-mile-long spur jutting into Lake Erie.
And I'll be going there,
in the 1960s,
or have been there by the time you hear this.
Recreation setting remains one of the most intriguing in the annals of American
So intriguing
monsters.
that we had to do a whole segment on it. UFO Bigfoot.
After all these years,
Stan Gordon,
investigating hundreds of
UFO
Bigfoot
researcher.
sightings, why by now don't we have more physical evidence, or in fact a bar?
Exactly, Stan. Why don't we have a
For
physical
more
body?
than a century across North America, people have insisted they've seen the giant hairy biped known as
What?
Bigfoot. Many believe this creature is a cryptid.
I
a
wouldn't say many.
biological manimal
I would say
that's
a
evaded
fringe few.
positive identification. There's rarely ever any proof.
Wonder why that is.
I mean, no matter how rare an animal is, we have skeletal remains. But with Bigfoot, it just hasn't happened.
Because they don't exist.
In the early
Or
1970s,
they're
a
from
cluster of unusual sightings painted a
outer
much different
space.
picture. A new idea about the origins of Bigfoot emerged.
more like a
People were
crackpot
reporting
theory.
UFO sightings and Bigfoot creatures at the same time.
Coincidence? I think
Strange
so.
beams of light in the sky. Hulking hairy beasts on the ground.
Some of those cases began to suggest that there may be more to the Bigfoot phenomena than a flesh and blood explanation.
I wouldn't gather that from
The
that.
new evidence
So-
might
no,
shed
it doesn't
light
suggest
on
that at all.
Bigfoot's frequent disappearing act.
So Bigfoot's a
People have
magician.
shot at them with
He's the
various
hide and
types of
seek
weapons,
world champion. That's what
and
he
in
is.
no case did anybody bring one down and it disappears in
Yeah,
a flash of
it's
light.
just gone. There's just no evidence for it, so it must be from outer space.
Events at Presque Isle, Pennsylvania would entirely change the notion of Bigfoot.
Yes, this
I was just a
fringe
kid when all
event
the UFO
over
Bigfoot
50 years
sightings from
ago.
Presque Isle were in the news. Everybody in town was talking about it. It was on the television, radio,
Herb
news, in the
Kinney,
newspaper.
Erie County resident.
It was everywhere.
During the 1960s, the space race was captivating the attention of the American public. In the summer of 1966, the astronauts of Gemini 10 splashed down successfully off of Cape Canaveral.
Thousands of miles
Around
from
the
Lake
same
Erie.
time, on the shores of Lake Erie, four friends were about to encounter an entirely different breed of space traveler.
Is it the
On
Bigfoot?
July 30th, 1966, Gerald LaBelle and three friends, Betty, Anita, and Doug,
It was only
headed
two
out to Presque Isle
friends,
State
according to
Park
the
escape
official
the summer
story,
heat.
but that's okay. It's details.
We decided to get the girls and go up
Hey,
there. and
there's
have a
Gerald
picnic
LaBelle. He was there.
At Presque Isle. We went swimming for an hour or two.
Tried
As
to
the
get a
sun was
little
setting,
something extra. The girl
they
said
decided
no,
it
so
was
it was time to go
head
home. Woohoo, summer break, let's go! Aw, dude, your car's stuck.
We're spinning, come on.
Doug tried to start
Damn
the
it, Doug.
car and pull off the sand. When he went to take off, the wheels just spun and the car just dropped right
Rookie
straight
mistake,
down
Doug.
onto the
Rookie
sand.
mistake.
Kidding? All right, come on, you guys ready?
These were scantily clad 1960s girls. Come on, jabronis, push the car.
We're stuck.
So having no
Nothing you
way
can do.
out, I hitched a ride into Erie to find a tow truck.
Why didn't he use his cell? Oh wait, it's the 60s.
That group of people coming down to Presque Isle for a picnic that day had no idea that their lives were about to change as they entered into an area of some very strange phenomena.
That's a hot spot. So much so, nothing
With
has happened
Gerald
there
off to get
since.
help,
Or before.
Betty, Anita, and Doug were left to
And wait. And wait. Fast forward in time.
As darkness fell, the night sky seemed remarkably
Yes,
clear.
somewhat clear. They can see a bright shining object in the sky.
While they were
round.
sitting, waiting for the
I haven't
tow
seen it
truck to
before.
come,
Oh wait, it was the moon.
Hey, what's that?
they noticed a falling star over the lake.
Robin
getting brighter and
Shroop,
brighter.
pastor.
They noticed that it was an
You
octagonal
can know you can
shape
dress.
that was
You can
glowing
trust a guy in a
purple
priest
blue
outfit, right?
with a hollow center.
I wouldn't trust with kids.
And then they saw it as it came closer. It was more of a mushroom shape.
A mushroom head.
It landed behind the tree line without a thud, but there was some sort of vibration that emitted.
How can it make a vibration but not a thud?
Oh, God! What is going on? Is that you? What's wrong with your car?
Wasn't me.
The car.
Oh, my. Oh, my.
Oh my word, what is that? And boom. Away it goes. Choom. It's out of here. Tow truck pulls up with Gerald.
In the moments
The
it
rest
took
of the group
to
is
fathom what
freaking
they
out.
saw, a park officer arrived.
Oh, here comes a ranger.
Stay in the car. I'll be right back.
You can't
Policeman
trust this
comes
guy.
out because evidently they had seen something or heard something. You know, Doug, he told them what he had seen.
Officer immediately thought Doug was high, so he took him to
Doug
his vehicle and gave him a
the officers
breathalyzer
went
test.
down the beach area towards what they thought was the flying saucer.
Now
It's official.
the young women were by themselves, wondering what was happening.
So the police
down at the
officer
beach.
takes Doug away. Gerald is gone. Now it's just the girls alone.
tree
And we
branch
all know
breaking got their
Bigfoot likes to
attention.
get a little freaky with the ladies.
Then they saw a light.
Spotlights came out from
Was
the
it Bigfoot?
trees, searching the area.
And what they saw next was unbelievable.
Yes, it is unbelievable. It's incredibly unbelievable. Fantastical,
They saw
almost.
something coming from the woods, a large, dark humanoid, 7 foot tall.
Where's Moneymaker when we need him? We need
Closer, it
a
looked
size
to me
comparison.
like
Like,
a Bigfoot
how tall was he? Was he this tall, this
Cases
tall,
where
or this tall?
UFO sighting occurs in one area. Short time later, Bigfoot shows up. This type of phenomenon has
Yeah,
been reported, but it's
because we
not
all know
that well
correlation
known.
equals
They
causation.
didn't know what it was and what his intentions were. They didn't know what to do except scream.
And apparently that was enough to frighten Bigfoot away.
Betty was honking the horn to get somebody's attention to come back to the car, you know.
Bigfoot hightails it out of there.
Then he came down to
Oh wait,
the
no, he's still there.
He hit the car roof and put a couple dents
You have
in
pictures of these dents? No, probably not. That was probably his excuse to his dad. Like, look, Dad, I didn't put dents in the car. Bigfoot attacked me. Classic excuse.
By the time that the police officers and their friend came back, there was nothing.
Just so
there
happens they didn't hear or see
except the
anything.
evidence. Large scratches on the car.
The creature and the craft
Yep.
were nowhere to be found.
Just
Gerald
like that.
LaBelle had left his friends hours earlier to find a tow truck in town.
When I got back to the park, it was about midnight. And there was all these police cars around there. They did have shotguns and rifles and automatic weapons. So when I seen all the weapons there, I thought, my God, what is that war going on here?
There's a
you know?
damn Soviets are attacking.
In the same evening, there was 8 other individuals who saw the UFO coming. They all saw a giant silvery glowing object that traveled from the northwest across the city of Erie and over to the peninsula, finally to
Almost
land
like
on
that
B6.
story of the guy who put up a homemade weather balloon.
Gerald and his friends were questioned overnight at the ranger station and sent home early the next morning.
They wouldn't let us go
No.
down to the beach. They
'Cause you
brought
guys
the
are
car
crazy.
up to the
They're like, "You guys are crazy."
administration building. That's where we took off from.
Park superintendent's
While the
issue
group headed home
statement.
to sleep, the investigation at the beach was just beginning.
The scene on the beach and the next morning was chaotic.
You had
The Air Force has come in their dress blues with their silver briefcases
the National Investigation
and
Committee
their
on Aerial
paintbrushes
Phenomena.
to sweep the sand.
They photographed the area. They document any type of physical evidence. They use radiation meters to try to check and see if there's any unusual
Was there?
radiation levels.
No,
They
there
did
was
very,
none.
very
You didn't
detailed
say
study.
that.
Locals quickly got wind of something strange happening at the shore.
My mother was talking about it.
There's
the
this
morning
little
after
boy just standing right next to the Air
incident
Force
happened,
on the
when
beach.
Neighbors had told her.
Hey, what are you guys doing?
We
Can I
took
help?
a drive
Get the hell out of here,
out
kid.
there
We're doing
to
official
see
business.
if we could see anything. Strangest thing I saw was a footprint. One single solitary footprint.
The kid is contaminating the scene like nobody's
Similar
business. What the hell?
to
Get out of
a
there, kid.
bare human footprint. I've never seen a footprint like that before.
How would appear to be a solid creature seen.
Do we have a picture of the footprint?
There's physical footprints in the area,
Just saying.
and they just suddenly stop and disappear where there should have been more footprints. Just doesn't make
No,
any
I'm
sense.
completely baffled how a footprint can just disappear on a beach several days after the alleged sighting. There's no possible explanation. None. I can't think of any unless a outer space
The hairy
Bigfoot,
ape-man
space ape.
called Bigfoot is rumored to lurk in
What
forests
if,
across America.
when we sent monkeys into
Thousands of
space
sightings, zero hard
and they came
evidence.
back, they were
Some say the
evolved
creature is a human
into
hybrid.
Bigfoots? That's where
Others
Bigfoots came
believe it's a
from.
relic
They're
ape.
evolved space apes from
Now,
the space
an
race.
entirely different theory.
Quick,
has
give me the phone. I
emerged.
gotta call
There's
Moneymaker.
more to the Bigfoot phenomenon than we understand. There seems to be a non-physical aspect to some of
Oh,
these phenomena we're
Stan.
dealing with.
You're funny.
Could Bigfoot's origins be extraterrestrial
No.
in nature? Clues in the historical record may
Oh,
point
historical
to the
record.
possibility.
Cave paintings.
Native American stories record the arrival of the crazy bears.
Oh, well,
Huge hairy
Native
animals
Americans said it.
who
It must be
supposedly
true.
descended to Earth inside a small
They also
moon,
smoked a lot of
which
peyote.
deposited them and then rose back into the sky. By the late 1960s, the outer space origins of Bigfoot was starting to receive serious discussion, spurred in part by an incident in 1966 at Presque Isle, Pennsylvania. That encounter became part of a federal investigation, Project Blue Book, kept under wraps for many years.
But now we have the information, and there's
Project Blue
nothing
Book,
really in
the
there.
official UFO investigation was taking a serious look during that time of the
Sure.
UFO phenomena.
They were taking a serious
And,
look at it.
They did some
Doesn't
very,
mean
very
they found
detailed
anything.
investigation of some of these cases.
For the Air Force to be involved the way they were, it's obvious they took the whole case very
Yeah,
seriously.
oh, sure.
Declassified over 40 years ago, the Air Force's UFO investigation, Project Blue Book, now provides insight into the mysterious monster.
Project Blue Book looked into 12,618 UFO incidents, of which 701 remain unexplained, and the Presque
I like
Isle
those
case is one
odds.
of those in the unexplained category. They'd go out, interview witnesses, gather information, then forward all that information on sightings to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, which was where Project Blue Book
Right.
was headquartered. They roll out satellites, balloons, lights on aircraft, meteors. They
Crazy
eliminate
people.
all the normal
Did they eliminate crazy people?
possibilities. And then when you get down to it, the data indicates there was something there that they didn't have a good explanation.
Is that what the data says?
What that
Interesting.
unknown category is still remains open for a lot of speculation.
Exactly. What you're doing right now. Speculation. Jackass.
After the initial military response, shrouded with so much secrecy, Gerald LaBelle went back to the beach to investigate for himself.
And you'll never believe what he found.
Months later, I went back
Water,
to look at the
sand,
beach
and
found that the tree that involved in the sighting was gone.
what?
It wasn't broken. It wasn't laying on the ground. It wasn't rotted out. It was gone. The whole thing was
Whole
gone.
tree?
Roots and all. The whole tree. Broken part and
Really?
stump.
What does that mean?
Maybe the Air Force found things that they didn't want us to know.
Like, what? Like a rare tree disease?
Gerald and his friends may never find an explanation for their
No, there is an
strange
explanation. It
encounter.
was probably a weather
Going into
balloon.
that evening, we just
and
thought
then
we was going
Contagion
to have fun. We had no idea
from the story
what
released.
we was going to get into. Betty, she didn't want to talk about it. Doug passed away about 3 years after this
Oh,
happened.
poor Doug.
And then Anita, She just dropped out of sight.
Was she abducted?
Really, it is something that I ain't gonna forget.
I'm sure you won't. I'm sure it was a
A
memorable
UFO in the
experience.
sky and a Bigfoot
Memorable
on the ground.
experience.
Could it have been just a coincidence? A few years after the encounter on Presque Isle, a large hairy beast with alleged UFO origins made another mysterious appearance in the Keystone State.
In Fayette County.
200 miles south of Presque Isle, the tiny community of Ohiopyle, Pennsylvania, sits in the mountains, surrounded by wilderness. Some believe there are certain geographical areas that provide a gateway for these entities
We
to
would call
enter
those
and
people
depart
crazy.
from our physical world.
Like other paranormal hotspots
There's no
around
such
the
thing.
world, you just get a
Chad
feeling
Lewis,
that there's
paranormal
something
researcher.
here. There's something out of the ordinary.
On February
What are your
6,
credentials there?
1974,
Chad Lewis.
a resident, Mrs. Ham, was enjoying a peaceful evening. Accustomed to living out in nature, she was prepared to fend off wild
So
creatures.
prepared, she has an
She
arsenal
never
of assault
expected she would
rifles
come
and
face to
hand
face
grenades.
with something extraterrestrial.
Mrs. Ham lives deep in the woods up in Fayette County, Pennsylvania. And it's around 10 o'clock or so that evening. And she's sitting in her cabin home.
She
when
reached for a
begins to
9mm
hear some
pistol.
commotion on her porch. So Mrs. Ham figures this pack of wild dogs. has
She
come
racks
back
her
to the area.
shotgun.
So she decides to load one chamber of her
Creeps to the
16-gauge
window.
shotgun to scare
Points
the dogs
out.
away.
Any of you bastards out there want to take my land? Come and get it. I swear I'll shoot your face off. Shoot you right in the dick.
There's no
Oh,
dogs there,
snap.
which she
It's a
expected.
Bigfoot.
But just a few feet away in front of her, she's startled by this creature with eyes like coals of fire.
Coals of fire.
Mrs. Ham could not believe her eyes.
It was a hippie
It was
high.
obvious that she was
Bloodshot
dealing with
eyes.
something
You
that
damn
was not
hippies.
from this world.
Always coming on my property. Clack, clack, clack. Oh, Lord, I shot the neighbor's dog again. They're going to be mad.
The elusive Bigfoot. In the late 1960s, its sudden appearance in rural Pennsylvania was terrorizing residents.
Two
Adding to the
people.
mystery,
It terrorized
encounters occurred
two people.
simultaneously with UFO sightings, leading some to believe that Bigfoot is actually an alien astronaut.
Again, those people would be crazy.
Late one July night in 1966, in the remote Pennsylvania woods, a woman identified only as
Mrs.
Ham
Ham.
heard strange
Oh,
noises
yeah, we knew
coming
Mrs.
from her
Ham.
front
She was
porch
always seeing things
and
and
grabbed her
shooting her shotgun into
to
the dark.
investigate.
When Mrs. Ham saw the creature, her first thought was, this thing is going to lunge on me.
Boom! Oh, Bigfoot
Mrs.
dodged
Ham
it by
dived directly into the
disappearing.
creature. There's this bright flash of
God
light,
dang,
and
that's
the creature
awesome.
disappears right in front of her.
Just like that. He was gone.
Hearing the shots, her son-in-law ran outside to help.
Mom, are you shooting in the dark
Her son-in-law,
again?
Tom lived nearby. He grabbed his
I swear I
22
saw
revolver
something, sweetie.
and began to run towards the house.
You didn't see anything, Mom. Or just a deer. No, it was a Bigfoot.
He found himself surrounded
Oh,
by several
he was surrounded by
menacing
Bigfoots?
monsters.
He drops his
Bah,
flashlight.
bah,
starts
bah,
firing
get him.
randomly.
Man.
He wanted to get evidence and
Yeah.
bring one of these things down. But they weren't nowhere to be
Where did
seen
they
at
go?
that point. And at about the same time, he's noticing the strange light hovering over
Oh,
the woods
okay.
that they described as like a big Christmas ornament with different colors flashing over the area. He just ran. He turned
What
around
a
and
punk. Should have stayed there and tried to shoot at the
ran. Tom
aircraft.
had his wife call the police because they wanted to get some help up at the scene. And by the time the police got there, the object had disappeared. Just a
Yeah,
short
the police were like, oh, it's crazy Mrs. Ham
Leaving
again.
as quickly as they had
Shooting
appeared.
at space
The craft and the
Bigfoots.
creatures were gone. Sightings like these have raised questions about Bigfoot's true address. Planet Earth.
Or
the
in the
stars.
minds of the
We don't have
believers.
the answers, and we're hoping that someday more about the Bigfoot and UFO community will get together and look at this.
Yeah,
thing
that much
thoroughly
crazy in one
and
room. What could
open-mindedly
possibly go
and try to
wrong?
find out what's really going on out there.
I don't think they're from this Earth. They have to be from outer space. And they sure
Obviously, there's no other explanation.
Because we've never caught one.
That's right. We're just dumb humans. Never been caught. Well, there you have it, folks. The UFO Bigfoot from Erie, Pennsylvania. 6 people saw it, and apparently that's enough evidence for these cranks to say we're skeptical of Bigfoot's origin. No, I'm skeptical of everything you jackasses have to say. And it's so funny because they present it in the way like, oh, we don't have any evidence of Bigfoot. It must mean it's from outer space. Well, no. The other conclusion is it doesn't exist. Now, I'm open to the idea of a Bigfoot. Out of the Bigfoot or the paranormal, such as ghost, I'm more apt to believe that there is a cryptid ape-like creature that we haven't discovered yet. It's actually more plausible to me than ghost. But the fact that we don't have any evidence for it, we can only draw one conclusion at this time, and that is it doesn't exist. And that's the point in all of this. Just because you don't have evidence for it doesn't mean it's from outer space. And that's why most people don't believe in the paranormal or Bigfoots, because the evidence is severely lacking. Or well, more people should believe that, and that's what I aim to do. Because if you presented evidence to me that a Bigfoot exists, physical evidence, if tomorrow we read in the news that we found a body of a Bigfoot, I would change my mind immediately about it. And I would delete all the back episodes of Paranormal Skeptic Academy, and I would do a new show called Bigfoot Fanboy Club, whatever. But the point is, there isn't any evidence. So until then, all they're doing is engaging in wild speculation. And that's the problem. Well, I hope you enjoyed this episode of Paranormal Skeptic Academy. As always, if you want to be a member, patreon.com/PSA or paranormalskepticacademy.com/registration. Whole lot of content up there for you to listen to that are exclusive for members, like the YouTube page, subscribe to YouTube, like on Facebook, follow me on Twitter, CWeb619. And until then, we'll catch you here again next time. Thank you for listening to another episode of Paranormal Skeptic Academy. If you like what I do, please leave me a review on iTunes and Stitcher. If you want to support the show financially and receive extra content on a monthly basis, you can sign up to be a member starting at $1 a month at patreon.com/PSA or at paranormalskepticacademy.com/registration. Like the Facebook page at facebook.com/Paranormal Skeptic Academy. Follow me on Twitter at CWeb619. And subscribe to the YouTube channel at youtube.com/PSkepticAcademy for full video versions of each episode. Also, you can download each member-only bonus episode for $1 at ParanormalSkepticAcademy.com under Downloads. Thank you for listening to Paranormal Skeptic Academy, schooling your favorite paranormal investigators.